art of breeding, he was able to build a strain of birds at the Ede Coevenstraat in Borgerhout, from where many famous racing pigeon fanciers have taken the fruits. His name wasn't that famous in the years 1920 to 1930, but his pigeons could compete with the best of Belgium. Jan Arden had noticed this. The third visit of Arden wasn't so far out of his neighborhood. A trip with the family was linked to a visit of the specialist on the extreme long-distance races in Zeeland, Leo de Kock from Hulst. Jan Arden had noticed there a beautiful 2-year-old dark checkered hen. This hen was to become one of the stock birds from the father-son combination Arden. She was named the Vetconte. The Vetconte hen was from the origin Staaf du Sarduin and Marquini from Sars out of Gent. Father and son Arden bought that same year a hen from the Belgian extreme long-distance racer Bremdox. The duo Arden wasn't successful with this new blood of Bremdox. Also, the blood of Tinus Vermeer wasn't a success. Not everything that the Arden family tried worked, but they persevered and built the strain we recognize today. The base of the breeding loft of Jan Arden was made at the end of the 1930s by the blood of Ostro, the blood of Henry Ray, the super breeding hen of de Kock, the Kampdorfer, from Willem van Kampenhout, and in 1938 there was also the 2 pigeons of Hermansen from Anthony Wagemaker and Thijs stock. Jan Arden formed with this mixture a very hard flying loft. His breeding capacities were based on his natural talent, his large experience and his grand know-how of the genealogy. He was in favor of inbreeding. His 2 basic couples had some same blood strains.
First Jan Arden couple Bla Ostro with the Oud-Reduoven. This combination was a great success. The most famous son of this couple was the Fietsvlieger. He won from Nguyen, 7 minutes in front of the rest of the convoy. After World War II, the Fietsvlieger came back to the loft Arden and bred some magnificent birds. His nestmate Dick Bla was a very good racing pigeon and was superior in the breeding loft. A year later he bred the Skowan Bla out of this couple. This racing pigeons always won first prizes on the club Olympiads. The Dick Bla died in World War II, but the 3 Musketeers became very important to the rest of the Arden story after World War II. The 3 Musketeers, out of Bla Ostro and Oud-Reduoven. 1 Dick Bla NL36 to 37251. 2 Fietsvlieger NL36 to 37252. 3 Skowan Bla NL37 to 2128. The second base pair was composed of the Radoffer and the Belsk from Ostro. The 46 was the best son out of this couple. In the young bird competition in Steenbergen, he won the young bird competition with the 1st, 9th, 14th and 45th prize. A full sister of the 46 was the Orleans. The Orleans won top prize positions from Orleans for 3 consecutive years. The Fietsvlieger was paired to the Vetconte of de Kock. With this pairing, the 3rd base pair was formed, and they also bred some very good racing pigeons. The most famous hen out of this couple was Die Verkeerd-Duoven, one of the best racing pigeons ever from the Arden loft. The Dick Bla was paired by Arden to Duvelge from Ostro. The 4th base breeding pair was formed. Out of this 4th pair was born Moik.
The breeding concept of Jan Arden was very clear. The baseline of his colony was formed on the sons, daughters, grandsons and granddaughters of the Godelijk from Jules Roquer. In the years 1938 and 1939 nobody could fly to compete with the breeding products of Arden. In 1939 Jan Arden was already racing his pigeons on the widowhood method. All still was not perfect though in the mind of Jan Arden, and when he and Anton had a visit from Willem van Kampenhout, they discussed that they still believed that Bordeaux was too far for their birds. Kampenhout was extremely impressed with the quality of the Arden birds and suggested they give St. Vincent a go. Jan and Anton basketed just 4 birds for St. Vincent. They were Verkeerd-Duoven, Skone Blore, Dikke Blore and Muik. The birds were liberated on the Saturday. On Tuesday, the race would close. Race conditions were poor with heavy rain along the race route and hopes were not as high as they normally would have been. At 3:00 in the afternoon the winner of First National Netherlands was known. Jan Arden's first pigeons was his second nominated, Verkeerd-Duoven. She came around 6:00 in the evening, winning 59 now convinced about the quality of his racing pigeons because the Verkehr, despite the constant rain for the entire flight, wasn't tired and showed no signs of stress at all. The Dicker Blore won the 95th national prize. Unfortunately, the Arden family made a basic mistake. They thought that the race was closed on Monday as usual for the traditional Friday liberation. Scone Blore and Muike arrived before the official close time and would have still won good national prizes. From doubt over the ability of their birds, they had just clocked 4 out of 4 and all would have been in the national prizes. The rest is now history and the story of one of the greatest long-distance family of racing pigeons that the world has ever seen.
Like all the great strain builders, Jan Arden over the years successfully blended together several breeds of pigeon, including the Delbars, to create his own strain, and from the 1930s onwards the legacy began. In later years, both Jan Arden and others, including Van Agtmel, Van der Wegen, and Van Giel, to name but a few, who had obtained his birds, dominated from races such as Dax, St. Vincent and Barcelona. This put the small Dutch village of Steenbergen firmly on the map as the heart of distance racing. Fanciers from all over the world came to obtain birds of the Jan Arden origin, resulting in the success of many of the modern-day long-distance fanciers. The major influence, however, in the development of the Arden strain and the consequent dynasty was Zilvervosj. This light check hen with a reflection of silver in her wings was a wonderful breeder as well as a racer. Her bloodlines are there in the families of the great Arden fanciers like Muller, Van Agtmel, Van den Berg, Van der Wegen, Van den Einden, and the Kuipers, as well as being the grandmother of Conipius's second national Barcelona. In fact, her contribution to the development of the marathon pigeon in Europe is immense. Zilvervosj is a daughter of Slaper, age 46 to 270518, which was of Schutteren bloodlines. Other research confirmed that another Schoutern pigeon was the other parent. This fabulous hen, when mated with Zesentactic, age 47433486, also known as 86, bred late Meesters, age 495255758, a pearl of a pigeon. The famous 131 was a great-granddaughter of late Meesters, the latter appearing in the pedigrees of many of the best modern representatives of the strain. The late partnership of Eiterkamp Muller confirms that Zilvervosj was the foundation bird of their family. The sire of Van Wanrooijs the Spin is a grandson, and the Dam is a granddaughter of Zilvervosj. And of course the Spin was the foundation bird in the families of Kuiper's brothers and Peter van den Einden. Arden's famous 37 was a grandson of the hen. In turn, 37 was the grandfather of Giel van Agtmel's 500 as well as the grandfather of Jan de Weert's 131. Surely two of the best of the Arden dynasty.
Zilvervos was the granddaughter of the Oudwit Pen, a famous breeder of Toon Stoffelen and Bontje Arden. Dam of Lichtenberg's 10 was a granddaughter of Zilvervos. Bear in mind also that the Bontje Arden was the mother of Janus van der Wegen's Oud-Doffertje. The list appears to be endless regarding the breeding influence of Zilvervos, but, as stated, she was also a very good racer. Some of her triumphs included the following: 3rd National Dax, 1949, 2nd National Dax, 1950, 55th National St. Vincent, 1950, 7th National Dax, 1951, 47th National St. Vincent, 1951. Although a reserved person, Arden made some friendships which added to the building of his strain. One of those friendships was Piet de Weerd, the world-famous pigeonologist, whose knowledge and advice Jan pondered. Another fruit of their friendship was the so-called Piet de Weerd pigeon, perhaps Arden's main breeding hen of Delbar and Diegafoy origin. In fact, the Delbars played a prominent part in the Arden's origins, for some of the early breeders carried the blood of this strain. The success of the developing Arden strain caught the attention of Jod's fellow fanciers in Steenbergen, and many were purchased, resulting in the area becoming the hotbed of long-distance racing in Holland. This also contributed to the evolution of the strain. A few of the latter around the period after the Second World War until 1960 included Toon and Piet Lichtenberg, whose famous hen Oudwit Pen, when coupled with another Arden, were the parents of two of the most famous representatives of the strain, the famous number 10 of Lichtenberg and the fabulous Oud-Doffertje of van der Wegen. The latter latter being the foundation of the Van der Wegen strain, while number 10 became the father of the famous doll of Marijin van Giel, the origin of the Van Giels.
The late Marin van Giel from Nieuw-Wassemeer in Holland succeeded in breeding a family of birds with exceptional perseverance and exceptional character, whose base stock birds were obtained from Giel van Agtmel, the best friend of Jan Arden in the mid-1950s. Two of the best long-distance racers and breeders ever flown in Holland were the Lang, entered 18 times for national races above 625 miles, winning 17 prizes, and the Doll 67 ended his distinguished career in 1975, 8 years old, with a third national St. Vincent and 4 weeks later third national Dax. The original Van Giels have been the building blocks for many long-distance lofts around the world. Champions such as Vlech, Zoan Doll 800, Dr. Doll 290, Favorite, Doll Keith, SWEL, as many others, are household names now, and fanciers such as the Kuiper brothers, Wim van Leeuwen, Jomp Clean, etc. owe their success in part to the late great Marin van Giel and the Jan Arden-based birds. As the strain developed, it dominated the races from Dax, St. Vincent, Bergerac and Barcelona, among others, taking Europe by storm and extending beyond to become a truly worldwide family. Piet de Weert helped in this context by buying good representatives of the strain and selling them to others. Another important contributor to the success of the Arden dynasty was Piet Lazerums from Zeg. This Arden specialist bought out top lofts of Ardens, and through this he owned the best of the strain. In turn, Lazerums was used as the main source of the Ardens by the best fanciers in Europe and elsewhere. For example, Van Pepperstraten and De Have. The latter built his loft on his famous clapper, which he had got from Lazerums. There's also the exploits of Van Zelderen, who won 5 nationals with Ardens. Recent examples are Theo Ernest, whose Barcelona successes are based upon the Ardens, and also the Brugman brothers, whose famous loft is founded upon another Arden source, Hein and Hub Oostenrijk. Nor should the exploits of Jack Steketee of Brunis be overlooked, for he formed one of the top Arden studs of the 1990s. His Golden Breeder 788 is considered one of the best of the Arden dynasty, as is the highly thought of 60 of another Arden ace, Cees de Jong. Then there are the world-known breeders and racers of Jan Polder and Piet de Vogel of today.
Such is the influence that Jan Arden has had upon the sport of pigeon racing, that his name is used widely and, or, associated with Dutch long-distance racing pigeons. For many, he was the creator of the Dutch long-distance racing pigeon. In his early days in the sport, Jan Arden could not have imagined what his love of racing pigeons would lead to. For arising from the strain which he produced, there now